Hey guys, this is Jacob, Puppy Turtle, which is me, and Brandon.
Better known as Deck Crash.
And we've decided to go ahead and just the three of us make responses to make a response to Ebilly99. He asked me to respond to his latest video, and Brandon suggested that we do what we are doing right now. So we're not doing that. I've decided we're going to go ahead and just respond to all four of the videos that he's made in response to me. Now, the first one that we're going to do a response to is his response to my video, which was a response to Wolfwing's video, The Problem of Q. The problem of Q, according to Wolfwing, is the fact that even if God had done all these appearances and Jesus performed miracles and all of these things, we can't know that it wasn't a super powerful alien who was trying to screw with us and was omnipotent like Q is from Star Trek. So, I don't know. The main thing I did, I wish I had responded better to it. I should have dealt with not just the unlikelihood, but physical impossibility of the things Jesus is purported to do. But I mainly dealt with the fact that it's a possibility fallacy. And this is Ebilly's response to me. Jacob, I've linked to it.
Okay. Wait, do you have the video?
Yeah, I've linked to it already. Here's.
Okay. Okay, I will play the video then. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Now we're starting. Just so you know, if you guys want me to stop, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to get started now.
And I don't really see any way past this religious people. Oh, really?
He has very bad production.
I gotta say, Puppy, I watched the video all the way through. And he brings up a lot of good points that you just sweep under the carpet. And your whole probability fallacy, he's not saying this is what happened. He said that there's just as likely a chance that a super alien decided to screw with humanity just for giggles. And there's no evidence against that.
Okay.
I would say that it's not just an issue of it would take high technology. It's physically impossible to have a touch that heals somebody, or to have somebody be healed by touching your clothing. It's not that it takes and healed instantly of a disease that has nothing to do with their hand. That's simply not possible. It's not that it's something that would take super advanced technology. A lot of Jesus' miracles are something that only can be supernaturally explained. Because
and let's see some other examples of this. Some of the more incredible miracles. Calming a storm with just words. We're left of men marveling, saying, "What manner of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him." Weather is not something that you can just stop instantly. It just doesn't work that way. You have to do a whole lot of things with kinetic energy and that builds up in a storm. Not only that, to feed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, you would have to basically violate the law. Well, really not so much violate it, but just make an exception at that point of the law of conservation of matter and energy. You would have to actually create matter.
To be fair, he could say that they used a replicator for that.
You still have to have energy, and also, where on earth will this replicator be coming from? That just doesn't make any sense. And remember about the thing about Occam's razor.
Of course, Wolfwing would argue that the supernatural is so ridiculous and horrible of an explanation for anything that no matter how stupid it is, anything he can come up with to rationalize it away must be the explanation.
And he would have to prove that the explanation of the supernatural is completely irrational.
So continue.
Right, hold on. Oops.
But let's look at what he's really stating. He's stating that all of these things that we associate with God could easily be accomplished with technology. And it seems like he might be onto something. Now, by no chance do I believe that a God or even aliens did this. I believe, I don't see any points to it. But the focal point here is, if aliens did do it, what way would we know that they didn't? And you don't give up any...
The problem here is that he's equating metaphysical essence with physical aliens, and that's a fallacious argument. Because
also,
when we just...
I love how he's bragging about how his hypothesis is unfalsifiable.
Well, here's the thing. The very big problem already is the fact that he's misunderstanding what we mean by God. We don't believe God is a being. We believe God is being. We believe God is the foundation of all being. We believe God is the essence. He is the logos. The Christian conception of God is the logos. God is being. God is the foundation of being. God is the foundation of existence. God is not a physical being. He is being. And that's what the problem with
He's the part that's greater than the whole.
Basically, yes. And that's something Thomas Aquinas argued in Summa Theologica. It's like, this is something you find in the ancient Christian writings, in the ancient Christian philosophers. This guy is totally not getting it. He is not even giving a coherent metaphysical argument.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is one of those things that, I remember that discussion that Dr. Craig had with the one in regard. I mean, I know this is a little off subject, but the one where he's talking about, what created the universe. I think it was a computer.
Yeah,
well, you gotta
right.
Prove that it's a computer first of all.
Right, because his point was that you can call it a computer, but you stripped all the properties of that would make it a computer. We basically, what you basically described and what you call a computer is basically a timeless, spaceless, the foundation of being, the foundation of existence, and that foundation is what we call God.
Yes, but what Wolfwing or Ebilly will immediately say is that he's arguing that it wasn't the foundation of being, but rather that it indeed was a being that did this.
Well, that's not how we define God.
That was.
Well, that's not how he defined God. If he's not willing to go by our definition of God, then he is basically arguing against a brick wall that we're not going to accept his definition because he is not deriving our understanding of God from classical theism. He's
not arguing that God is an alien. What he's arguing,
I know that.
Or might be an alien. What he's arguing is that an alien did what God is supposed to have done. And the way you disprove that is A, they would have no reason to, and B,
all you need to do
and B, the things that Jesus did are impossible. It's not just that it would take high technology; it's that you can't bloody do it.
Puppy Turtle, all you need to do is just dismiss the argument because he's making a false analogy. He's equating foundation of existence with a physical being. And that's not what we mean by God. So just by that alone, the argument can be dismissed. Alright, we'll continue.
Anything credible, except, they'd have no reason to. Have you seen Anonymous? They do things for giggles all the time. Things that cost money. Things that screw with our lives. Just for the giggles of it. Okay. So by saying aliens would have...
What's that?
How does he know that alien psychology is similar to ours? And is he aware? I mean, I'd imagine that it's not as if they would just let random citizens screw with developing civilizations willy-nilly. This would be handled somehow or regulated, I'm sure.
Well, we don't know that for certain either. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but neither is he really speaking from knowledge. And why would you do something so beneficial for people and teach them how to love and to care for one another, even people who the rest of the world would think is trash, out of some sick cosmic joke? You know, there are too many whys, and you know, when you throw in that kind of sick capriciousness, there are way too many factors to throw in, and in the end, it just really makes more sense to say that it is a being that has the best of intentions, rather than someone who's just doing it just for the hell of it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like if it was like if you were being a sick person and just doing it for the lulz, it seems like you would lead. It seems like you would cause chaos and turmoil, not command people to love each other.
Yeah, or they would have ultimately some punchline that in the end that would. It's like when you play the game like Civilization, and you might be building up a civilization to its highest point, and then just send a whole bunch of disasters to destroy everything. Yeah, that's the punchline. Why do something that is essentially can do nothing but be constructive? Out of what kind of a joke is it? That doesn't make any sense to say that it was out of some sick joke.
I mean, I guess he could fire back again that the alien is playing pretend with humanity and just imagining what it would be like to be God. I mean, I don't know.
But at the end of the day, it's not a coherent metaphysical argument. He's not even properly engaging in metaphysics here. He's just making like cheap shots.
I mean, but in regards to the alien playing pretend thing, I mean, I would say that they would almost certainly have a computer simulation for that. You know, if they're so advanced they can really do it.
Well, if he wants to call the foundation of being an alien, then it's his choice. But all that comes to is just playing semantics.
You're misunderstanding him. He's not saying the foundation of being is an alien. He's saying that it was not, in fact, the foundation of being that did this.
I understand that, but the problem is Puppy Turtle, stop interrupting me, okay? But the problem is he's equating the foundation of existence with an alien, and I cannot take someone seriously when they do that. Because it tells me they cannot make a coherent metaphysical argument.
And that's another point about the problem of the holodeck thing that I was going at. It seems like any amount of fun you could have with the real universe, you could do in a holodeck and do it better because you weren't constricted by reality. You know? So I mean, that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You want to continue?
It doesn't need to be certain that it's not an alien. It just needs to be more probable that it's a god.
All right, I'm going to continue then.
No reason to do it. It's kind of wrong. They do it just for the giggles. And the holodeck thing, we'll get to that.
Does any being that's not fake being God?
This is another logical fallacy, this time on non sequitur, because could does not imply would, let alone in.
Yeah, no logical fallacy here, puppy. He's using a hypothetical, stating that, a civilization could have such technology, and you suddenly say, oh, that's a logical fallacy. No, go read a book, find out what a logical fallacy actually is. It's not a non sequitur, because the whole debate of the argument...
That would be
non-sequitur?
Yes, he did. That would be non sequitur.
This one person is trying to teach you about logical fallacies. Nice.
You should at least pronounce the name correctly.
Yeah. I shouldn't have shouted at him, but nonetheless. I'm sorry about that, Ebilly, but I mean, come on.
All right, let's.
But I shouldn't have said come on either. I'm sorry. I'm trying
Just to clarify, what is he actually arguing at this point?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Keep watching.
2 minutes, how would you know the difference between a god did it and an alien did it? And you haven't come up with anything viable yet.
Neither
But
have
let's
you.
continue.
And ultimately live forever would never do this. It would not have a reason. And if it's that unbelievably intense as the view from Star Trek allegedly is, it would be, at least from my point of view, unlikely that this team would waste its time.
And there's your problem, puppy. According to you, who is not an immortal being, who has
Not A, B.
He's not talking about God. He's talking about the hypothesized alien.
50, maybe 60 years left in front of him, would never do something like this. So therefore, a creature who time is really irrelevant wouldn't either? No. A creature who is infinite would do all things. By the very necessity that he's got an infinite amount of time to do such things. He would have, he would eventually do it because he would run out of things to do. That's quantum physics for you. In a universe that is infinite.
What does that have to do with quantum physics?
Well, and not only that, who is he to decide what God, or whatever being he's trying to decide is thinking? I mean, he's kind of shooting himself in the foot because he's pretty much hypothesizing. In the end of the day, the whole alien bit doesn't really bring you any closer to any kind of answer. It's just speculate.
All it is just basically another version of Russell's teapot. That's all it is.
Nothing to do with Russell's teapot,
Yes.
actually.
What?
But remember how I'd explained how it does have something to do with that. Because it was, like I said, think back to the discussion that Dr. Craig had with help me out, Jacob.
Basically, he was talking about the computer. Like, the computer.
Yeah.
Do you remember the doctor talking about saying, like, it's not really a god, it's a computer. Well, it's just basically another version of Russell's teapot. And the flying spaghetti monster would be another version of Russell's teapot, and the computer would be another version of Russell's teapot, and then the alien analogy used in this video, another version of Russell's teapot.
I don't think he's going for an analogy.
It doesn't matter if he was going for it or not. It's still you can still compare the usage of the alien in this video with Russell's teapot.
It doesn't really get you anywhere. Plus, he's completely ignoring some of the properties of God. Let's move on, I say.
All right, hold on.
An infinite amount of things will happen, and have happened, and will have happened again.
Okay, pause it.
This is just...
Okay.
Okay, it's not true that after an infinite amount of time, you'll eventually do everything. If I lived forever, I would never sprout wings and fly. If I lived forever, I would never visit the Library of Alexandria. I don't know. I guess time travel could be invented if I lived forever, but I don't know. If I lived forever, I would only ever wear braces once, probably. I don't know, but the main thing are the impossible things, I would say. I don't know, I could wear braces again, like lose a bet or something, but I would never sprout wings and fly. I would never jump and hit my head on the moon from the Earth without, like, special equipment. I would never stop breathing for 10 hours without any kind of equipment and not die. I would never grow a second penis. I would... there's a lot of things I wouldn't and couldn't do in an infinite amount of time.
That was a little too much information with a certain part that you know what I mean.
Yeah, Puppy Turtle, we didn't need to know that. But let's continue anyway.
Pure quantum physics right there, but it also applies with conscious things. If a creature were to live long enough, he would do all things. If a creature would never die, he would do all things infinite amount of time. It's just that simple. But let's continue, because I'm enjoying this.
You have really bad production values.
Just no. Science fiction is actually a very good way to determine reality, as long as a science fiction writer is skilled. For example, faster than light. No science fiction will ever even attempt that. They use warp or wormholes, which are possible. Quantum physics, yes. Remember, 90 years ago, it was science fiction that we would have cars or airplanes, so yeah. Science fiction is actually a very good dictator of what science fact becomes.
I don't even know where he's going with this.
What he's trying to say is that science fiction is extremely prophetic, and therefore, when Wolfwing says that because there's a Q character in Star Trek, there might be one in real life that is what we think is God. That therefore, that's not. Therefore, because science fiction viably predicted history, though from my understanding, science fiction doesn't predict history. It actually post-dicts history. It actually post-dicts it after, or it doesn't post-dict it, I'm sorry. What it does is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It inspires people. It inspires the people to do what.
I just think it's a weak point to even use this argument.
I'm just thinking, that's it's just really, in the end of the day, it's a pretty lame point to make. So what if science fiction has described inventions that are reality nowadays?
It's really
doesn't mean anything.
It's really gasping at straws when someone uses this argument.
It really is. I mean, he does, and the saddest thing is that he doesn't even realize it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, even if we granted that this argument was legitimate, all you can do as a response is say, "Okay, and your point?"
Yeah, I mean that's what I'd say.
Yeah, let's continue.
So, yeah, double facepalm.
Except we're not in a holodeck, are we? We're on Earth.
Puppy, in a good holodeck, how would you know that you're in a holodeck? Also, brain in a jar question. If you were only a brain in the jar, how would you know that the outside world exists? This is a very theological question.
Actually, it's a epistemological question. You're confusing theology with epistemology.
Also, he's trying to use it against him in that particular perspective. It's not really making a very good point.
It's not a very good point at all. Because
I've read enough Star Trek technical manuals to know how a holodeck works, and yes, the holodeck is working perfectly fine. And if you were born inside a holodeck, you'd never know it was a holodeck. But so what? I mean, and besides, I mean, yes. As far as we can tell, we're not in a holodeck or anything like that. There is some truth to cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am. In knowing that we're not just a brain in a jar, or that we exist and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, Descartes did take things a little too far with his epistemology, but other than that, I think he was on the right track with I think therefore I am. But at the same time, I think regardless how you view I think therefore I am, what Ebilly is saying in this video, saying it's a theological question. No, it's not. It's an epistemological question. By the end of the day, it's like asking, okay, how do we come to know this? How do we come to know that our senses are reliable, that outside information is reliable? We start from metaphysics, and then we go to epistemology. And it's like he doesn't even want to. It's like he doesn't even want to engage these philosophical questions because it's like it interferes with the argument he's making. All right, it's almost done. Let's finish this.
That's the whole premise of the Matrix. So actually, a very good question.
All right, that's the end of the video.
Yeah, I would say that firstly, I don't remember what the holodeck thing was in response to. I think Wolfling may have made an irrelevant point or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. But by saying randomly, how do you know you're not in a holodeck while it's talking about his problem of Q?
Mhm.
But I don't know. I would say we know we're not in. I would say we know that we're not in a holodeck because despite the claims of some, there's no, or not a holodeck. We know we're not in a matrix because we're yet to find any glitches. And all computer programs have glitches, and to our knowledge, there's never been a glitch that we know of where someone has fallen into their bed or something like that. But in regards to us, how do we know we're not in a holodeck? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But it has nothing to do with the problem of Q. So let's move on to the next video.
All right. Send me the video, okay?
This is his response to my response to Thunderfoot on the Psalm 23 thing.
All right. Let's continue.
The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. Guys, I saw your video, puppy.
Okay, stop it right quick.
And
I just have something to say.
What's that?
This isn't going to be another one of those videos, is it?
What?
Well, the way he began the whole "Lord is my shepherd" thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's his response to my response to Thunderfoot.
Oy vey. Go ahead.
All right. Let's finish this.
Hey, Thunderfoot kind of owned you. Your replies weren't that well informed and just kind of tasteless. You bring up that sheep were not eaten by the Hebrews. Hate to tell you this, but yeah, they were.
That is, he asserts that, he doesn't argue it. And I'm not saying they were never eaten, or at least I didn't mean to say that they, literally never ate them. What I was getting at was, it was rare enough that it wouldn't be the thing you think of when you think of what sheep are for. And no analogy is absolutely perfect or even intended to be such. So, and beyond that, with Thunderfoot, beyond that, the main time that a sheep was eaten was the Passover lamb, which I believe it says elsewhere that Jesus is. So I mean, so yeah. And the sheep analogy was used in other cultures, so we know it wouldn't have we know it probably wouldn't have instantly brought that imagery in mind. Otherwise, most other people wouldn't have used it.
Also, what's his face? Oh my God.
Thunderfoot.
Tecton TV actually did a video about that a while back concerning the whole deal about the Lord is my shepherd and how he had actually described that sheep were actually more valued in Hebrew society for their wool and rather than their meat. Eating sheep was actually not as common as eating other types of animals like cow and whatnot. I mean, it did happen, but it just wasn't nearly as often. And besides, the whole... okay, let's just move on.
All right.
Lamb has always been a delicacy for that culture. But even if
Lamb
it
is
wasn't,
not
it doesn't
sheep.
matter. God is a God of all time. He knows what's going to happen. By using the inference of shepherd in a time when sheep is really a good food to eat, it's just pointing out God wants to save the most people. Using the analogy of a shepherd, not the best idea. And then you talk about growing up.
Way to attack ancient Hebrew poetry.
I'm sorry. It's just that Thunderfoot really muddied the waters when he made that stupid...
It's really... This is like attacking, Virgil's the Aeneid. This is like attacking Homer. This is like attacking Baba Gita. This is like attacking the works of Aristotle, the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. I can go on and on and on. This is attacking literature. This is attacking poetry. This is attacking an art form.
It's not, it's even worse than that. It's attacking something where the meaning is so completely obvious and sitting there. It is a perversion. I'm sorry. You know, that is. No, I'm not even sorry for saying that. And the person who watches this video can sit there and try to wail on me for saying that. But what Thunderfoot did, and when a lot of the YouTube atheist community took that and ran with it like this moron did, and I'm sorry, it's moronic. I shouldn't call him a moron, but it's moronic to do that. But you know, this guy did. It is a perversion of that scripture.
One thing I would like to ask is like presenting that analogy to a kid. Presenting that analogy to a kid, and just see what happens.
Yeah, they laugh at you. Like that's not what it means. You know.
Yeah, I also hate the if God knew that our culture would be different, why did he use cultural idioms of the time argument? Because it's so stupid. I mean, it's basically saying I'm too lazy to do the research, and an all-loving God wouldn't expect me to be reasonable.
All right, I'm gonna continue then.
An infinite God. No, an infinite God may not have us grow up and be better. Does an infinite God want us to get out there on our own and not rely on him all the time? I wouldn't see why not. That's every parent's intention. To have their...
Jacob, was that you banging your head against the wall?
Yeah.
I'll take that as a yes.
About this argument that God would want us to grow up and be independent of him. First off, I mean, in the Bible, he says otherwise. He does indeed, according to the Bible, want to more or less control our existence. Not because he's like dominating and wants to assert his awesomeness over humanity. It's because he understands what is best for humanity and wants us to follow his commands, because that way, if he controls our lives, he can always control our lives and those of the others whose lives he controls, such that things will always end up the best.
Still, it's just, I'm sorry, that there are very few things on YouTube that will infuriate me more than the fallout from that incomprehensibly idiotic video that Thunderfoot made, and the group of people who actually so blindly think that Thunderfoot made this brilliant point that, wow, I never saw it that way. I never saw it that way because that's never what it was about. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's move on because I want to get away from that as soon as possible because it's really.
All right, let's continue.
Children live their own lives, and that's always confused me. He's a heavenly father. Father's most important job is not to raise children.
What?
See what he says it really is. It might not be that stupid.
Dude, I can feel the brain cells dying from that, okay? Yes, it was. Please, let's just keep moving.
It's to raise adults who can live without them. And God fails. Or maybe he succeeds with the atheism growing as it is. Maybe this is God's ultimate goal, that we live life without him. We'll never know, will we?
I need to make a comment. Just because someone moves out of their parents' home, moves out of their dad's home, it doesn't follow that they're not going to love their father, support their father, and want to and you know what I mean? It doesn't follow. That's ridiculous. So
I
like
mean, if
okay,
God,
so like okay, for example, let's say I moved out of my parents' house someday. Does that mean I'm gonna not want? Does that mean I want to cut off ties from my family?
no, he's not saying that though. What he's saying, what he just suggested, that's what atheists are. He just suggested that God's hope was that we would eventually stop believing in him and live on our own. So what he's suggesting is basically that a parent raises the child with the hope that they will become so ill-attached from the child that they will no longer believe it exists. That the child will no longer believe the parent exists.
I mean, that is so stupid. I'm sorry. That's God.
Let's continue this.
Sorry, been a little sick lately.
Way to blow your nose on camera. If you're sick, don't show it on camera. And I don't mean to be rude, but I'm just being honest.
Rude and honest are synonyms.
You talk about, what else did you talk about? With the denominations. Yeah, they have something different, some kind of belief. That's why it's a different denomination. There's some kind of core structure.
What's he talking about here?
The 30,000 denominations thing. What defines a denomination is autonomy. Some of them have different theological beliefs, but not all of them do. Often, two groups split into separate denominations because they work best autonomously, because perhaps, they serve the needs of a specific community that they understand very well, and therefore they work best autonomously. It's ridiculous to say that every denomination is the result of
So it's basically an autocephalous system. Am I correct?
I don't understand what autocephalous means.
Autocephalous refers to like local structure.
A denomination means it's autonomous and not connected to any ruling structure.
So in other words, it's an autocephalous system of church structure.
It's autonomous from all others. I would say but I mean that doesn't mean there's a theological difference. That's not the only reason to be your own denomination.
All right, I'm going to continue. I'm not impressed with this guy so far.
There that they do not agree with others. For example, Baptists believe you get baptized after you get saved. Lutherans believe that baptism at birth. Catholics and Mormons, don't get me started there.
Did you just conflate Catholics with Mormons?
Not directly and absolutely.
Well, let's hope not. Let's continue.
But even when you split smaller than that, you've got little differences. Okay.
There's actually differences that do make a big deal. So, I don't know what your point is.
I can't really think of a point where you won this. And I don't want to be that guy who's just, Christian's evil, Christian's stupid. I don't want to be that guy, I really don't. So come up with better arguments and make a reply. I want your A game. I don't want anything that I can misconstrue and make fun of you about. I don't want to do that.
Pause it right quick.
What's that?
That's it. As I said, to that I say, look up Tecton TV. He'll understand some of the things that Puppy Turtle said a little bit better. Because I know Puppy Turtle, some of the things that you're saying are actually coming right off of that. Especially what you said about the different religions thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know.
Alright, let him continue.
To go at me as if you were William Lane Craig or whoever you want to be in the Christian circle. Dr. D. James Kennedy, Hank Hanegraaff. I want you to pretend I am Richard Dawkins, the greatest atheist of all time.
Richard Dawkins is a theologically naive imbecile.
Richard Dawkins, you are not, sir.
Richard Dawkins is a theologically naive, imbecile when it comes to
No,
philosophy and theology.
I don't mind saying that Richard Dawkins fits my definition of moron. And my definition of...
Hold on.
Let me finish, please. My definition of moron is not defined on how intelligent they are. It's actually a moral criticism. It's basically how badly they feel the need to talk times how little they know of what they're talking about.
Whatever. Alright, let me finish this.
No, just kidding. But I do want you to give it serious thought. Can you give up a better example? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pasture. Yeah, I mean, and don't go, well, I don't know the Bible, I'm not an expert. Yeah, I was on my way for seminary. I had studied the Bible. I probably know more about the Bible than most Christians here. Not bragging, just...
Yeah, you could have fooled me too. Yeah, then you somehow implied that you conflated Catholics with Mormons. Do you even understand
I don't think that was the what he was trying to say when it came to that, to be completely honest. Just to be fair, I mean.
Fair enough. Alright.
Being honest. But yeah. Oh, the witch thing. The witch. Is it ever right to take another's life for their beliefs? If you say yeah.
What was that?
Yes, I can conceive of the circumstances where it is. I mean, that's basically what the war on that's largely what the war on terror is. It's not just because these people are murderers. I mean, I'm sure that at some point in that an Al Qaeda member has been killed that has never murdered anybody. You kill them because you're killing them because they're Muslim extremists.
That's not the reason why we go in killing members of Al Qaeda. It's not because of their religious beliefs. It's because of what they represent. They want nothing more than to destroy us, and have been planning and plotting to hurt us little by little, doing all kinds of different things to us that take innocent lives. That it has nothing to do with them being Islamic. If they were devout Roman Catholics, it would not matter if they were going in and killing Americans.
I didn't say it's because they're Muslims. I said it's because they're Muslim extremists.
No, it's not even Muslim extremists. The whole deal with Al Qaeda is much deeper than religious beliefs.
A lot of the killings that go on in the world and wars, it's not really as religiously motivated as much as politically motivated. A lot, like for example, let's take every single war that's happened in the 20th century and the current war in Iraq. Are any of those wars religiously motivated?
I agree with the thesis of that NDK has brilliantly argued for, that Al Qaeda is more of a political.
It is more political.
Al Qaeda at 9/11 was more politically motivated.
Right, it was politically motivated because the problem is that there was years and years of blowback with the United States government occupying these Middle Eastern countries, and that was pissing off the Middle Eastern people. So we had the Al Qaeda sending the groups of men to basically attack the United States in order to aggravate the United States to get them off our land, off their land. Sorry.
You're right. I'd forgotten that.
So it was never. It was like religion may have played a motivating factor, but to just blame religion solely is to really ignore the really important issue, and that's the political motivations.
Yeah, you're right. I had largely forgotten that part, but nonetheless, if someone's okay, let's take Venom Thing X, not his current beliefs. I'm talking about what he claims to have believed before he converted. he claims to have basically been a comic book supervillain. That's the only way to describe it. He says he believed that humanity was a blight upon the universe because of among other things, the killing and eating of other animals. And he went on to say that nothingness itself was actually perfect, and he believed that morally we ought to restore the universe to a state of nothingness. If someone actually believed that,
Well, if he actually
there's serious consideration for eliminating them, because that belief is liable to cause you to try to destroy the universe.
I wouldn't say eliminate Sean for that belief, but I would say he's an idiot if he believed that.
I'm talking about, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, ignore my Al-Qaeda example. I'd forgotten about some of the stuff.
Gentlemen, I think we're kind of getting off subject now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but he asked if it's acceptable to kill somebody for their beliefs. It is. But the thing that he was asking about was witches. It's not because they had believed in the religion.
I think he's referring to the...
Let me finish. It's not because they believed in the religion of Wicca, which didn't exist yet then. It's because... It's because they...
I think he's also referring to vaguely to the Salem witch trials. Like many people.
No, it's not. I remember the response to the point I made in my video. He's referring to the "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live" commandments.
Yes, but that teaching in the Old Testament is what played a part in the extremist factions of that happened during the Salem witch trials.
Also, that was not a matter of religious belief. Even then,
right? It was
"Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." There was something different. It was really about a spirit of manipulation and control and everything like that.
And that's political motivation. A lot of atheists, when they're criticizing religion, they make this point. They really do ignore the political motivations behind it.
Of course they do. It's inconvenient for them.
All right, let's continue.
Yes. Then where does that put you? If you say no, then what right did God have to say, kill the witches? And you can't sweep that one under the carpet. Do you believe anyone should die for their beliefs? And not to protect their beliefs just because they believe something. And you've also got to answer the question of why God brought up the analogy of a shepherd when he knew what happens to the sheep.
Actually, it was the writers of the Psalms who wrote the analogy. So I'm like,
the Bible. He was referring to divine inspiration.
Yes, but the just divine inspiration it also does not exclude the fact that men wrote the Bible. So
can we please get off of that, because I really can't stand when people bring up that analogy. It rankles me on the inside. To completely missing the point of the entire psalm. Anyway,
let me continue.
The shepherd only cares for the sheep as long as he can get something out of it, either food or fur or wool, whatever.
And that misses the point entirely.
So yeah, this is Ebilly99. Hoping for a reply, which I doubt. Signing out.
And you got a reply from me, buddy.
And me.
And me. Alright, so next one.
Alright, send me the video.
Okay, this one's only like a minute and a half long.
That's fine.
Turtle ARG 4.
Alright, give me the video.
Is that the one that I was looking at earlier?
No, this is not his latest reply to me. This is his second latest reply to me.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's play this.
Hey guys, Ebilly99 here. I am going to reply to Puppy Turtle's reply to Thunderfoot's reply to D. James Kennedy about the whole logic of identity thing. Puppy replied that time made the difference. However, time is part of the identity thing. If we're not talking about a universe that existed 20 years ago or 5 years ago, we're talking about a universe as one thing. looking at it four-dimensionally. You see the past, present, and future of said universe. Now, if you can change an action in said universe, then A no longer equals A.
Okay,
And
pause it.
logic is screwed. Because you had a
Okay.
The problem with this is that what Thunderfoot was arguing is still
He was arguing causality and not really identity, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. What Thunderfoot is arguing is still wrong, because what he was saying is that he was saying one moment in the universe is identical to another moment to an equivalent moment in another universe, and that therefore what goes on from there must also all be identical. And even if we assume a kind of block theory of time, which I, in a sort of sense, believe in.
Wait, you believe in B theory of time?
I mean, I said in a certain sense. It's not necessarily exactly as a physicist would say it. It's basically, as UNFF Wildcard summed up in his omniscience versus omnipotence paradox video. I would consider that a form of a sort of block time universe. That doesn't exclude free will at all, as Thunderfoot, wants us to believe that it does.
Okay, let's continue.
Universe that in all the past moments was exactly identical, and then for one instant changed. A no longer equals A.
No,
Thunderfoot was right.
Even then, the universes are not the same universe. They're just ones that look the same. So even if we assume a lot of stuff that he is baselessly, it is still not the case that A does not equal A, because it's still not that A doesn't equal A, because it's not A. It's A. One of the universes is A. The other one is B. So that also kind of destroys the points. Kind of destroys the whole thing about that.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I'll continue. It's almost done.
You're getting back to the level of Shakugan and Nephilim on your logical debates, and I don't want to say that. You can do better. I know you can, but think about what you're saying before you actually say it. You're not looking good. I know you're trying to defend your religion, and you know what, that I'm fine with that. But do some research. Stop making straw men and logical fallacies.
What's that?
Okay. Should have said "wow" with a softer tone earlier. Sorry, but anyways, with that, no, it's I didn't not do research. First off, it's philosophy. It's not a hard science or a hard thing about which necessarily do research on. But I didn't make a straw man. Thunderfoot was arguing that because a universe is identical, because two separate universes happen to be identical at one point in time, therefore, because they're happen to be identical at one point in time, therefore, it's a violation of identity if they diverge. It doesn't mean A doesn't equal A. It means that B does not equal A, because one of the universes is A, the other one's B. And secondly, it means that, even that, one moment in time is A, the other moment in time in the one universe is B, and the other one is C, so it's at that moment, the next moment in time in the other universe is C. So A does not A is irrelevant, B does not equal C. There's no violation of the law of identity.
Well, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I saw Thunderfoot's video, but Thunderfoot was talking about causality. He was conflating that with identity, so it's not even a good argument. So, all right, this video is almost done. So,
And think. This is Ebilly99. I do the thinking, so you don't have to. But Puppy Turtle, it's a good thing to think. Go.
Should be more like I do the thinking badly.
yeah, here's my assessment, and this is my opinion. I think metaphysics is completely incoherent. I think his presentation style needs work. I think he needs to present a more coherent critique of your position, Puppy Turtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, he needs to define his terms better, because like there are certain times in the video when he's like when he goes on a rant, when he's going on these rants, he just basically makes these assertions, but does not even evaluate not evaluate. He doesn't like back up what he means by these assertions.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to is that video over?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the last one and the most recent one. The link is in the description.
Hold on a second. All right, give me the. Okay, hold on a second.
Bobby, I've had enough. Okay?
Oh, really?
You know, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Ooh, I believe in evolution now. Well, that's fine. But you're wrong. You're wrong about all these videos. Atheist Gaw, Part 7.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. That was pretty funny. The way he said that was pretty funny.
Sounds like Napoleon Dynamite.
He sounds like he sounds
for all of these videos.
he sounds like Napoleon Dynamite's brother. That's funny.
Okay, I shouldn't. We shouldn't be insulted.
Yeah, I know, but it's pretty funny. It's all in good fun, you know.
I at least apologize for mine.
All right, let's continue. I'm not going to apologize. I thought it was pretty funny. All right, let's continue.
Of your continual evolution of stupidity has got to be the worst. She brings up excellent points, and it's, oh, you're wrong. But you're wrong.
Pause it.
Can you at least present a more professional critique of Puppy Turtle's point?
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, wow, sir, way to make yourself sound mature, you know? And you're the ones he's supposed to be.
You know,
He's
when you actually
Puppy Turtle.
when you present an argument like this, or no, let me rephrase that. When you present a critique like this, it makes you look like a child, and it makes people not want to take you seriously. All right, continue. Oh yeah, you have any other things to say?
Nope.
All right, let's continue.
Look, everything she said was accurate. Perhaps the numbers were off a little bit. I'm not going to debate that. Christianity does cause wars, whether you want to admit it or not. And if it doesn't cause it, it's...
I didn't say that religion doesn't cause wars. The issue was that she was trying to basically say that religion is the cause of, a lot of wars that, in fact, it can be shown to have had nothing to do with, and generally that religion is the cause of, not necessarily all evil, but religion is the cause of the vast majority of problems in the world. She was making a BS false meta-narrative. That's the thing I was critiquing her for. I wasn't saying that, there are no wars caused by religion. That would, of course, be absolutely ridiculous.
Well, you have to understand a lot of so-called religious wars also have political causes, political motivations. So a religious war is not solely based a quote unquote religious war is not solely based on on religious reasons, but also political reasons. Like, for example, taking control of land, or overthrowing a dictator, or something, or fighting an unstable economy. You cannot ignore the politics when it comes to a war, because to solely place the blame on religion and not even discuss the politics is very disingenuous, and it's ignorance. It is very ignorant. You cannot separate politics from war. You cannot do that.
I mean, well, what they want to portray the idea of is that all of or the vast majority of war is someone saying, "Hey, let's go kill all those people because they think different than us."
Most wars are fought for political reasons, mostly. Because you can't separate politics from war. Otherwise, why fight a war if you don't have political reasons to fight it? Wait, hold on. Let me play the video.
Definitely been used as an excuse for wars. You want to know why Hitler killed the Jews? It was for economics, sure. It was to gain the country to rally it under him. But you know what his calling card was? The Jews betrayed God. The Jews betrayed Jesus. And it was time to round them up and make them pay for killing our Lord and Savior. That's right.
Pause it, please. Okay, first of all, does he know nothing about World War II? Does he know nothing about his world history? Hitler was using a quote-unquote religious reason as an excuse to back up what was a purely political and personal reason. It had nothing to do with religion. He tried to look like.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even so many atheists love to bring up the idea that he was a practicing Roman Catholic. Okay. Even if we granted, for the sake of argument, that he was a practicing Roman Catholic, it does not guarantee that he was in heaven. It does not guarantee he was saved, because according to Roman Catholic theology, if he was not working out his salvation, and instead of trying to work out his salvation, was instead killing thousands of innocent people, then by Catholic theology standards, he would be in hell. So it doesn't matter what he was religiously. It does not matter.
He died by suicide, which according to Catholicism, if you do it with full consent of the will, meaning you're not depressed or something, you go straight to hell because that's a mortal sin. And
mortal sins send you straight to hell, according to Catholic theology. Because mortal sins implies full consent of the will.
Yeah.
And Hitler, based on what we know about, killed all these innocent people with full consent of the will.
Yeah. And committed suicide with full consent of the will. So yeah, under Catholic theology, which is what they accuse him of being, he'd be in hell right now. And also, let's just pretend for a moment Hitler was absolutely a practicing Roman Catholic.
Right, let's just...
He was a Nazi. He killed these people because of their race, because they were Jewish, because of their nationality. He killed some Messianic Jews, and, then that had nothing to do with religion, obviously. He was basically a white supremacist killing all non-white people.
Mm-hmm.
He was Marmite Man 4, except with political power.
Mm-hmm. Alright, let's continue.
Marmite Man 4 would probably... I don't know.
Well, Marmite Boy 4 is an idiot, for all I know. Alright, let's continue.
You don't believe me? Look at the mottos Hitler had used. He had always claimed Christianity. Whether he believed in it or not is not important. He used it, and people fell for it. And you know what? Stem cells are viable research.
Pause it. Nowhere in my video did I deny that stem cell research would bring about medical benefits and cures. What I denied was that it was ethically acceptable. The same thing would be true if you were to dissect live humans. You would bring about medical benefits and treat diseases and ultimately probably cause more good than the dissections would cause harm. But this isn't. It's still not. It's still morally wrong to do it. I didn't deny that any scientific facts because I didn't make a scientific statement. I made a philosophical, specifically an ethical one. But yeah, play the video.
Do cure illnesses, and just because you don't like science doesn't make it fake. I don't know what to do with you.
Seriously, I've lost almost all respect for this guy. When you resort to mocking a person in order to make your point, that is a sign that you have totally lost the game.
To be fair, I do that too, but...
Well, you shouldn't be doing that.
I mean, largely when I do my little alternative voices, I'm doing it to distinguish it from my own voice talking and show that I'm quoting a hypothetical person.
Hold on a second.
He was doing it deliberately to mock me. And I mean, I don't know, that's...
Mm-hmm. Alright, you want to continue?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I really don't know. Laws that are religious, that are still in effect. I can't buy alcohol on Sundays. You may not think it's a big deal, but still, it's imposing your religious beliefs. And this is actually a funny one.
What's that?
First of all, those laws are not in effect everywhere. Secondly, those are laws that are made with the consent of the people. So the law that is being passed is a law that is made. Oftentimes, I think that is relegated to citywide or parish in Louisiana, countywide. In other states, they are made with the consent of the people. This is not something that's just done just because a group of Christians decided that they didn't like alcohol and refused the sale of it.
I mean, to be fair, I did challenge Lacey to find a blue law that has been enforced in the past 30 years, and there is one that has. Nonetheless, it is a pretty small. It's a pretty small minority. It's one. What Lacey in her video spoke as if it was the case was that, there are hundreds and hundreds of laws arbitrarily, or at least dozens, forbidding what you could do on the league. I don't want to strawman her. She didn't say that, but she spoke as if, any of these things were more than a minor inconvenience.
Alright, let's continue.
Opposes Christianity's religious beliefs there. Not anything else. Not even all Christians. I mean, Seventh-day Advents. Oh, well. They can't buy alcohol on Sunday.
What's that?
Where in the Bible does it say that you can't buy alcohol on Sunday? Where in the traditions of either of the two major universal churches, Catholic and Orthodox, does it say that you can't buy alcohol on Sunday? Where anywhere in any Christian anything that's in any way that would in any way be considered binding on the majority on most Christians does it say that you can't buy alcohol on Sunday? I think you'll find that it doesn't, and therefore it's not Christianity's religious beliefs. That's actually a lot more in line with Islam, which forbids all alcohols of any kind, than it is with Christianity, which explicitly says that it is acceptable to drink so long as you do not get drunk. So yeah, there's nothing Christian in the law that you're not supposed to buy alcohol in Sunday. It's closer in line with the teachings of Islam.
Okay, let's continue.
They don't worship on Sunday. Jews, no, they're on the Sabbath, which is Saturday. So, yeah. You said that homosexuals have the same rights? So, the homosexual has the right to marry a person they love.
Well,
No, they don't.
Hold on.
Please, I have something to say about that. First of all, you know, generally speaking, you know, if you talk about just for the general population of the U.S., aside from states that have enacted same-sex marriage laws, we all do have the same rights. No one, heterosexual or otherwise, has the right to marry someone of the same sex.
Exactly. That's the point I got at. What he's saying is the right to marry who you love. Well, I mean, who you love, that differs from person to person. I mean, that's subjective. If we're basing it off of objective things, which is what gender they are, and every homosexual man has the right to do all the same things that a heterosexual man can do. It's just that love, that's part of what you want to do, not what you can do. The saying you can't marry who you love is rather like criticizing, saying, you know, that saying that you can't marry who you love and therefore gays have unequal rights is rather like saying that because I can't have the thing I want to steal, whereas the guy who has it and wants it has it, because I can't have it because he won't sell it to me, therefore I have unequal rights. Because I can't have that thing, he can.
Okay. All right, let's continue.
You're saying is that, well, a man's always allowed to marry a woman and vice versa, but, that's a right. But that's like saying a black man or a black woman's only allowed to marry a white man or a white woman because you're only allowed to marry, to a white person. So a black person still has all his rights.
No, that is a false dichotomy.
Okay, how about this one? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under Thor, indivisible, with liberty and thunder and hammers for all. Now that's offensive. It's about as if...
What on God's green earth is he talking about?
The Pledge of Allegiance thing, he's saying...
Yeah, I mean, I know, I saw it in the comments section, Puppy Turtle. It doesn't make any sense there, and it makes even less sense now, because I think the guy has finally gone off his meds, or he's acting.
Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, one nation under... I don't know. There are two main differences here. Two main things here. Firstly... you're saying one nation under Thor for a Christian would be committing idolatry. For an atheist, you don't believe in God, therefore you don't believe that there's such a thing as idolatry in the Christian sense. Therefore, you're not worried that you're sinning or doing something wrong or something you very much don't want to do when you say under God. Secondly, as I advise, you don't have to say under God when you don't believe under God. You can just let everyone else around you say under God and keep your mouth shut while they're saying under God. And likewise, when you're saying it alone, you can just not say under God. It's not as if the Pledge of Allegiance is magically enforced that you say all of it by a super pixie.
Puppy Turtle, also, you're forgetting one interesting thing. Now, I'm going out on a limb here because we haven't finished watching the video. But if the point he's trying to make is what I think he is, then I mean, so what if you're I think he must be making the whole thing saying, like, let's say you're in another nation that worships another god, or has a majority of population who practice a completely different religion. Or in this case, Odinism. So what? I wouldn't be offended. That's it. The majority of people in that nation practice this religion. As long as they're not requiring me to do it, to say this particular pledge, it's not going to bother me.
Well, keep in mind that the one nation under God clause is really a cultural thing, so...
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why that offends.
It comes part with the culture, so you you're basically attacking a culture when you make this argument. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I'm not trying to make an argue for or against it. Just pointing that out.
I'm just saying that it does that the whole deal. I never did understand why people are so bothered by it. But let's move on. I think we spent enough time on that.
Right. We have one more minute, so.
Offensive as using God because, yeah. Well, let's continue.
No, it's not as offensive.
Why is it so important? Because it does. It is saying one religion, or at least one group of religions. It's saying monotheism, which, taken to its fullest extent, is a religion. Why not gods, or goddesses, or divinities, or spirits, or flying spaghetti monster? Oh no, this is...
What's that?
Okay, first of all, monotheism isn't a religion. Monotheism describes religions. Can describe certain kinds of religions, but it is not a religion. Secondly, once again, doing that version of the Pledge of Allegiance didn't offend me in the least. And if I was in a country where they would do that, it wouldn't bother me in the least. What would bother me is that they forced me to do it.
All right, let's continue.
He's going to, of course, say that the children in schools are forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
And I'd laugh him in the face and say, no, they're not, because I have proof of that. I used to, when my middle school, there used to be a boy in our class who was Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witnesses do not pray in public, and they do not recite things that require any kind of, that are really any kind of expression of loyalty to a country. And during our pledge and during our morning devotion, he'd stay seated. We never said anything about it, never bothered him about it. It was perfectly cool.
All right, let's continue.
It's God. I can only watch half your video because it's so freaking retarded. But I hope I've given you enough to think.
Then why'd why'd you bother making a response in the first place?
Can you say half-cocked?
He said he only watched half of the video, in which case, A, why did you respond to it without watching it all the way through? And B, the important stuff, the point of the video was that the music back rant at the end. So, yeah,
all right, let me
the major point of the video.
Let me finish this video, okay?
Go. And you know what? I'm ready for it. When is Atheist God number whatever me going to be up? Because
right
evidently...
now.
You're going to have to cover me eventually. This is Ebilly99. I do the thinking, so you don't have to, and with former creatards, that's a good thing.
Okay, is that the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, just to clarify, does this guy make video responses to you constantly?
He's made these 4, and he makes several, but he doesn't he's not like Wolfwing was there for a while, making a response to every single video I made.
Okay, so he doesn't respond to every single video you make.
Yeah, that's all the responses he's ever made to me.
Okay, makes sense. Now, because I was about to say, he comes off as a stalker, if that's true. You know.
Nah, I hardly think it's a stalker. I think he just was more and more frustrated that you weren't responding. He really wanted you to respond.
Well, he's getting a response, not just from Puppy Turtle, but from me as well.
And from Brandon, better known as Deck Crash.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. The other videos that he did were poorly thought out at best. But this one, he really went off the deep end. It was patently untrue.
I don't know if he scripts his videos, but I think he should.
Yeah, because he's I mean, seriously. And then at the end, he just has the audacity to admit that he didn't even watch the video all the way through before he made his response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the most damning bit of evidence there that this guy is just not really does the thinking. God, if we have him do the thinking because we don't have to, we live in a crappy world.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are there any last thoughts?
That was my last thought.
Well,
I don't know. How long is it going to be, Jacob?
Right now it's at an hour and 20 minutes. But let me make one last point. I think he should read more philosophy. especially in the area of metaphysics and epistemology.
Yes, these words are true. In response, yeah. I want to respond to one last thing. In the comment section of the latest video, an atheist says that apparently a while back, Ebilly rebuked an atheist for saying that I wasn't on their side, and I mean I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me that an atheist does not consider me to be on their side on an issue I disagree with. I disagree with them on. I guess on the issue of evolution, I agree with you. I'm on your side, but even then, I'm not really like your ally in the fight against creationism. I have my own entirely pro-Christian motivations for opposing creationism and for most everything else that I do. So I was never. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not at all ashamed to not be on your side. I'm rather proud, in fact, not to be on your side, and I don't want to be on your side of this issue, on your side of issues I disagree with you on, nor in some kind of fight against all religion.
Okay. I think that's about it. So, and this has been a response to Ebilly99.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. I guess we can end this recording now.
Yes, indeed we can.
Have a good one, everyone.